meals day after day. According to a new report from the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, famine is imminent in northern Gaza. It is expected to happen anytime between now and May, and the rest of the Gaza Strip is not far behind. More than 1 million people, half of all of Gazans, are experiencing catastrophic hunger, and the report projects that famine could occur in central and southern Gaza by July. Earlier today, UNICEF spokesperson James Elder joined me from Gaza to speak about what this means for the people of the Strip and what he is seeing firsthand on the ground. James Elder, thank you so much for being with us this evening. Earlier this week, you traveled the length of Gaza. Just describe for us what you witnessed, what the people of Gaza are living through right now, and what Gaza looks like and feels like on this trip for you.
Hi. Looks like nothing I've ever seen. It certainly looks like nothing that a family should be enduring. When you start at Rafah here, this city of children that is teeming, and families living on the beach in tents, hard to move around, go up through Khan Yunis, which is utter annihilation. I've not seen that level of devastation to a city in my 20 years with the United Nations. And then to the north where we have this imminent famine, as we've been told, where entirely man-made, entirely predictable, entirely preventable. And you see families, you see children, you see parents doing that universal sign of hand to mouth, that's showing hunger. And then I got to a hospital in the north, and grandmothers, carers, mothers hunched over children, that scene you never want to see, quite often in tears. They've done everything they can, and they are looking at a paper-thin child. And yet aid is, a matter of 20, 30 miles away. It's obscene. It's getting worse, as you might be able to hear.
James, what of the focus right now has obviously been on the issue of famine. As you mentioned, the IPC report released earlier this week finds that famine is imminent in the northern part of Gaza. The rest of the Strip not far behind. As you mentioned, more than 1 million people, half of Gaza experiencing catastrophic food insecurity. We sometimes can't imagine what that is. Can you just tell us what people are actually able to eat? What are they finding? What are they telling you? I mean, you were describing what you're seeing from people gesturing to you. But what are people actually surviving on day to day?
Well, in the north, where this is the worst, and this is the worst because, they have received a fraction of the aid, and that is due to the obstructions put on. We've just seen in the last couple of hours UNRWA, the backbone of humanitarian aid in the Gaza Strip, being told they can no longer deliver food to the north. So when I talk to families, it's often just a complete lack. It might be beans, it's canned food, but it's a can a day. It's sharing amongst families. Never forget, of course, that so many families have had homes destroyed, and so one family's had 5 other families bringing them in, and they are sharing their food. They will share their last piece of bread, stale bread, so it's stale food, unclean water. This is this dangerous nexus between imminent famine and disease. So it's a grave lack of food. It's a lot of canned food, not a lot of nutrition, and a severe, severe shortage. But again, anyone who's got food is sharing food. No one, unfortunately, has enough food.
Based on what you are seeing on the ground, based on what the UN and other aid organizations are seeing on the ground, why is aid not getting to these people? Why is food in such scarcity for the people of Gaza 6 months into this war, despite what Israeli officials are telling the world, that aid is getting in, hundreds of trucks are getting in, and it's not their fault that this food is not making it to the people of Gaza?
It's a great question. Look, as the Secretary General of the UN has said, and many others, certainly those on the ground who deal with the daily obstructions, the hindrances, the idea it takes, 5 days to get clearances and then they get blocked. We have to be clear, Ayman, that the occupying power, Israel, has a legal responsibility to facilitate aid. We can see by the fraction of aid trucks allowed in, the hundreds I saw across on the Egyptian side. This is still not happening anywhere near the level we need it. Take another clear objective fact. There are multiple entry points, crossings, where we could bring these trucks in. Bringing them in through the north would be a game changer, because that's where the most severe need is. They're not opened, so they all come through the south. I'll go on another one to Jabalia in the far north tomorrow. That's a difficult journey. It doesn't need to be that way. Now, that's side by side, of course, the idea that aid workers get killed in this conflict. This is a remarkably unsafe place to be for everyone. recipients, people who desperately need aid, get killed. Our warehouses with food get bombed. These things together make this one of the most difficult places, if not the most difficult place, to deliver aid that we've seen in living memory.
James, I wanted to ask you about something that has happened here in the U.S., and that was the government spending bill that is barring funding for UNRWA. What is your message as somebody who is working on the ground, somebody who is working closely with other organizations like UNRWA and others at the UN? What is your message to U.S. officials about the consequences of that decision and what it will mean for Palestinians?
Well, the collective United Nations message, because we are very unified on this, is that UNRWA is the backbone. UNRWA has such a presence here, has the staffing presence, has the capacity, has the partners, has the logistics, has the schools, has the teachers, has the doctors. It is absolutely essential for the delivery of aid. You know, other agencies, we do everything we possibly can, and it's no small amount, but you cannot step into that void. UNRWA must be able to do that. To think what we are dealing with now, this humanitarian crisis of this level and an ongoing ferocious war without the biggest humanitarian actor, we're setting ourselves up for failure. Failure, of course, here means untold numbers of children and families unnecessarily dying.
James Elder, live for us in Gaza. James, I know you and your team and everyone else is working under unbelievable and unbearable conditions. Thank you so much for making time for us, and best of luck to you. And we hope that you and everyone else continues to be safe in Gaza as you do your critical work. James Elder, thank you.